Do you mind?
Bartender ran off when I came in.
Well, that's the last time I drink in this establishment.
I know who you are.
Do you?
Sure. Everyone in town knows who you are, even if they won't say it.
All right, smart guy. Who am I then?
You're the guy the studio sends to fix a problem. You take care of the trash and make sure no one smells the ugliest stink of it.
Yeah? And what's that make you?
An ugly, smelly problem. You think that's new?
No, I don't suppose it is. The studio wants you back on set. They've already got their photographer ready. They'll send pictures to Variety of the guy in the suit. They'll say this was all a gag to promote their new monster picture, Out on the Town with the Creature from the Black Lagoon, something like that.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Means no. The studio can't have me back. Good day, Mr. Maddox.
Just what is it you want, Mr. Gillman? And don't say screen critic, because the studio has been very clear.
Oh, shove your credit.
Don't tell me it's a dame.
Don't be perverse. How would I even... I assure you, my spawning days are well behind me.
Mr. Gillman, over here, please. Have a seat.
All right. They don't really need you to finish the movie, you know. They've already got a guy, stuntman named Browning. Used to be a performer at Weeki Wachee Springs. You know that place in Florida with the girls that swim around in the mermaid tails?
Your shirt, please. Don't be shy. I'm a professional artist. It's not as if I've never drawn a nude before.
He says he thinks he can do the underwater stuff in the suit. They add enough weights to it. It's not about the picture, Mr. Gillman. It's never about the picture. It's about respect. Respect for the contract you signed with the studio.
Do you know what I used to do before this?
Before you started drinking?
Acting, Mr. Maddox. Before I was an actor, I was a god. A small god, mind you, of a tributary that poured into the mighty Amazon herself. They sacrificed blood to me. Children were baptized in my river. I had respect. Only it wasn't really respect, was it?
It was fear?
It was fear! Fear of the thing living down in the dark. The thing that might take those children if you didn't baptize them in his river. The thing that might make the fishing bad and the crops die.
Well, I suppose technically I'm an Italian countess. So we've got that in common, haven't we? Letting people believe we're something we're not.
A god.
A monster.
She was the first person who didn't look at me that way.
So it is about a dame.
Her name is Miss Patrick.
Milicent, please.
She created the creature suit they made of me.
Yeah, I've seen her on set. Real looker.
A looker? That's all you've got? And you think I've got mating on the mind?
Hey, so what? So she made a mold of your head. My kid made a whole papier-mâché island with a working volcano for his third grade science class. So what?
There was no mold, Mr. Maddox. Oh, their makeup director tried to mold me and I nearly suffocated. They brought Miss Patrick in to design the suit instead. When she showed me the first drawing, that first portrait she did of me, I saw the same thing she did. Something terrible, powerful, but something beautiful as well.
You have a noble brow. You should show it off more, instead of wearing that silly hat.
You know, they paraded her around the press to promote the movie. Right across the country.
I'm told they're calling me the beauty who created the beast.
Then it was the beauty who lives with the beast, and after that it was, I'm sorry, Miss Patrick, you no longer have a place in the Universal Pictures never ever. And why? Because some son of a tuna. Because the guy who nearly suffocated me to death couldn't hear to let a woman get credit for her own work on his picture?
That's Mr. Westmore's prerogative. Makeup departments don't get credit. Their heads do.
You know, she didn't cry. Didn't scream, didn't threaten to go to the press to tell them who really created the creature. Just picked herself up, dusted off her dignity, and thanked everyone for the opportunity. I nearly strangled every one of them right there. So no, Mr. Maddox, I will not be returning to finish the movie. Their actors can do it in the suit, he can sink in it for all I care.
What did they even need the suit for in the first place? They got their own fishman.
Yeah, well, they thought that too. Turns out those hot studio lights don't agree with my delicate complexion. 10 minutes of shooting on land and Mr. Gillman turns into Mr. Fish Stick. So the actor does the studio stuff and I do all the underwater bits.
Can I show you something?
What's this supposed to be?
Started out as my hobby. I'm interested in the picture business, you see. Not just the stories, but how they're made. What it takes. So I started writing it all down. Costs, profits, what they spent it on, who got paid what, all of it. Take this one. Winchester 73. You know, they wanted Fritz Lang to direct this originally. But he had some cockamamie idea about how Jimmy Stewart was in love with his own gun or something. Now, Stewart, he's not that interested in the Western. He wants to do a different picture. The one with the giant rabbit.
Harvey?
Yeah, Harvey. Add to that, he wants too much to make the movie. So the studio bosses offer him a deal. We'll give you a cut of the profits on both of them if you'll do it. And not only that, we'll pay you as a business, less tax that way. So there, that's the studio's take. And down there, that's Stewart's cut. More than $500,000. 3 times what Stewart originally wanted for just the one picture. Not bad, right?
I'd whistle if I could.
I'd whistle if I could.
I'm not a man burdened by an abundance of conscience, Mr. Gillman. Not by any stretch of the imagination. You said you know the kind of things I do for the studio, but I doubt you know the half of it. Let's say the studio's new leading man is confirming his bachelorhood a little too publicly. There's plenty of ambitious young actresses might be willing to be seen with a guy like that if it meant their career. Might even be willing to marry him. Or let's say some actress is getting a little too familiar with some guy whose skin tone is a few shades darker than is strictly desirable. Maybe one night, that guy gets mistaken for someone else by the local beat cop, someone the police want to have a little talk with. Or maybe he gets photographed with a woman of negotiable affection one night, and those photos maybe make their way to our actress. Maybe I slip her a couple extra bucks. She even shows up to that actress's doorstep with her kid in tow and says it's his. All that stuff. It's in here too.
For what? For blackmail?
Now that is a monster.
No, Mr. Gillman. They could easily find someone to deal with me the same way. It's for posterity. You and me, we can't change the system. All we can do is keep score and wait for a more enlightened age. This is what I'll be remembered for one day.
Time? You think that's the problem? That you haven't waited long enough for a just world?
Give me something fierce.
I was old when you people were still learning not to stick your fingers in the fire, and that is the biggest cop-out I've ever heard. The world doesn't change because it's time to. It changes because you force it to. because you make it too difficult not to change. You want to pretend you're not a part of the problem? Go ahead. Keep playing posterity's man on the inside while you do the studio's dirty work. But you know what? You are part of the problem. Maybe not the root, but you are sure as hell close to the dirt. I'll tell you how history will remember Henry Maddox. Henry Maddox will be the only monster in filmland who didn't get his own picture. The creep who spent his career suing misery at the foot of Hollywood Moloch, and no amount of confessions after the fact will change that.
You think the American audience cares that the guy who plays Superman on TV is playing house with somebody else's wife? Or that the studios have to feed Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney so many pills to get them through shooting on time and on budget that they have to have their own personal pharmacist? Or that Rock Hudson's a... Well, I can tell you they don't. They want to look up at the screen and see the American God.
American God.
Fierce, Mr. Gillman.
Someone bigger than them. Bigger than their tiny little lives. And the American God is not fallible. The American God doesn't get pregnant fooling around with a married man. It doesn't get to have a problem with pills or booze or any of that stuff, because if it did, it would bring them down to our level. All I do is help people keep believing in their gods. A tarnished soul is the price of a dream in Hollywood, Gillman. Anyone who says different hasn't been here long enough. Make no mistake, these men will ask me to out you to the press, and I'll probably do it. Creature from the Black Lagoon will be based on the true story of the Amazon fishman. It'll be sensational. And that little river where you used to be a god and the people who live there, hate to think of what'll become of them when the world comes looking for you. See you around, Mr. Gillman.
Maddox!
Fierce, Mr. Gillman.
I'm talking to you, you two-bit punk. You think I don't have your number? You think because you have friends at the studio that makes you any less of a cheap gangster giving me threats? Let me tell you something. You take your kid to the beach.
What?
Your son. Do you take him to the beach?
It's California. Of course I take him to the beach.
That's right, it's California. I bet your friends at the studio take their kids to the beach, too. Their sons, daughters, their wives. You know what all those people have in common? They weren't baptized in my river. Well, come on. Say something.
Now that's a monster.
Mr. Gillman, I think if you bring that kind of passion to set, this is going to be one hell of a picture. One hell of a picture. See you around, kid.
Where are you going?
I'm sorry, Mr. Gillman. I'm afraid I've been let go. Mr. Westmore has decided that my services are no longer necessary. A